Hey guys, Vern's here, back again with another Supercoach video. Look, I've unfortunately done a streaming instead of a recording, so I'm just going to have to go grab and make this little opening before we connect it all, but I hope you all enjoyed the video. To review, 21-39. Look, not a great score, didn't really move too much in the rankings, which I would have liked to, but I have made some small mistakes each week where I've just thrown away points on field, unfortunately. Look, few things I guess to discuss here. First of all, how good was the Pies win on the weekend? Oh, I loved it. It's really unfortunate that just like all the Pies players are obviously dominating the season, which feels fantastic, and I love watching that. Obviously, Port had the big win last week. People were like, oh man, Port look really good, and then we've just crushed them this week. And obviously, a lot of people coming into this season, power ranking kind of put Collingwood as taking a back step, and now everyone's just like, oof, actually maybe not. So that's super great to see. If you did start any Collingwood players, a lot of them are just going off right now. Mitchell is working out, I think purely because we're winning. He's managing to snag a few goals because the ball spends a lot of time down there. Darcy Cameron's been insane. Nick Dacos has been insane. Pendlebury's been insane. Like, it's just working out in all fronts for the Collingwood players. So if you did start with a few of them in your team, you're doing really well. And that's what makes me really sad right now, that obviously I never started any of them, and we're just getting absolutely burnt. First thing I'd like to just say, I guess, before we jump into this is I am sorry for last week's video. I did go and rewatch it myself, and look, I was so down in that video. I know I had a bad week, and I really just gave that sort of energy that I was just so sad about it, and I just didn't want to be there. So I'm sorry about that. I will try and make sure that I bring it a bit more upbeat. Obviously, it's also middle of the week as well, so I'm sorry that I didn't really record this till the Tuesday. I'll get it out after I record it. More or less, I don't really have an excuse for Monday. Obviously, Sunday night was quite late when the games finished, and Monday I could have done it. I'll be honest, I jumped on my computer to do it. I saw all the boys in Discord, and I was like, oof, games with the boys or recording? And I decided to play some games with the fellas, so sorry about that, everyone. Now, I had something else I wanted to say, and I've just completely blanked on it, but let's jump into the team, see how it's gone overall. Yeah, so, oh, that is not what you guys want to see. That is potential trade plans. Let's just quickly undo that. So forget that you guys saw that. Obviously, Dacos has been insane as to why I'm clearly looking at getting him in. I think he is definitely a top 5 must-have. I think, you know, I might do a power rankings video later in the week as to what is needed in regards to must-have players. I might just add them to the end of this video. I guess I'll figure it out as I go. But yes, Dacos is clearly someone I'm trying to get in. Obviously, he is sensational. I've got to be honest, I'm actually really happy and lucky that his preseason game went the way it did, because his ownership was through the roof. And I wasn't someone that was on Dacos myself. I sort of had him pegged at like a 95 average, and I was thinking, man, people are just like paying for a underperforming D6. I don't really see it. Obviously, he's come out and been bananas, but because of that preseason game, a good 20% of people jumped off him, so I haven't been punished as heavily as I should have been by not being on that Dacos train. Saying that also to anyone that watches the Supercoach swordplay with DR Spills, and I believe that they've just brought in Janeth is his name. Spills made his big call of Dacos going like 85 with a tag, and I remember Janeth laughing at this moment because I also laughed at this moment. He's like, he's gonna get tagged, he's gonna be put under, he's not gonna have a good week, and then he said 85, and I was sitting there like, what, bro? If you get like a heavy tag and you drop an 85, that sort of says that your floor is 85 in like a worst case scenario, which wouldn't be bad at all. Like, that seems pretty good to me. At least that's how I felt about that. I thought you give him a heavy tag, anywhere between 60 to 70, that's where you'd be a bit disappointed with it. And you'd be like, oh man, hopefully that doesn't happen too much. But he gets the bit of attention, and he still comes out with a 149. It's insane. It's a very hard roll to tag, especially with the way he like just works so hard. Obviously, if you've watched any George or Enno's video, JDs, they all went to the game, they saw Dacos, and they were just like, this is what we wanted. This is what we wanted when we were pre-picking him, and then we got scared off with that preseason game, and we never should have. Look, I guess the only time I ever thought of bringing Dacos in was when I was looking at my team like the few hours before the game, and I went, man, I don't have any Collingwood players in here. Like, I really want a Collingwood player. Like, maybe I just side with Ridley to Dacos. Like, obviously, that wouldn't have cost me a trade because it was before the rounds had started. And I thought, no, I can't play with my heart. I've got to play with my head. I'll have to. I'm keeping it the way I am. I should have played with my heart because apparently Dacos has been bananas. But yeah, this team, this is how we went. I went with a green captaincy. As you can see, I also put Ashcroft on the bench. Look, the reason I'm just going to discuss this first is, I guess my reasoning with it is that Brisbane came out and got smashed by Port. They were then coming into a Melbourne side that just dominated the Dogs, and I thought, man, there's a good chance that it could happen again. They could just get beaten down by Melbourne, and Ashcroft have another poor game where the pieces around him are falling apart. Unfortunately, Gawn goes down early, so rest in peace for any Gawn owners. So sorry for that. But then Dogs end up just sort of running over the game. Ashcroft looks amazing, and I'm just like, this is not what I thought was going to happen. On the other side of things, I thought, Bombers sort of smashed Hawthorn last week, and I thought Sydney's going to smash them again, but Mackenzie still put out a good score. So there's a good chance that he can score even when they don't do well, so I thought it was a better, similar thing that would happen last week in terms of games. Obviously, that wasn't the case in the sense that Brisbane end up getting up, and then Mackenzie ends up having his mid-time docked, which really, really hurt his score, and I just left 50 points on the park last week with this, having them the wrong way around, and then another 50 points this week, having them the wrong way around, so that's really hurt. 2 weeks in a row, I went for a 107 captain score last week and a 106 this week. So I've been leaving some points on the park there. Not massive scores that I could have gone towards. Could have gone towards Tom Green last week. I guess bumped this week. And I tried to get a cheeky Darcy VC in there. Obviously his history against Goldstein is really, really good, where he's gone like 3 of their last 3 games, like over 140. And I was like, Goldstein's come in after being on the bench last week. What's the chances of it happening again? What were the chances of North beating Freo? I didn't even see that happening. That was crazy. I guess same with the Green. I didn't expect West Coast to get up on bloody GWS. So just, I guess, unexpected victories where the West is just, weird things are happening in the West. And that was just, that was my reasoning, I guess, behind why I did what I did. And it just didn't work out, which is really, really frustrating, I guess. Not frustrating, it's just unlucky. I didn't see, unfortunately, a lot of the games from sort of Saturday night onwards, just because it was my cousin's 30th on Saturday night. Started at 7, so I did miss the Dogs Freo game. Dogs St Kilda and Freo and North game is what I'm trying to say. The 2 different games there. And then I had my mate's baby shower the next day, so I didn't really get to watch too much there. Watched a little bit of the Hawks versus Sydney because it didn't start till a bit later in the afternoon, and I'm so sorry for any Hawthorn supporter out there. Look, we know that your team's trying to build a dynasty and it's going to be a rough few years for you, but I turned on that game and the very first thing I see is Warple get the ball. I'm pretty sure he marked. I don't even quite remember what he did, but he got the ball perfect, and he goes for a backwards kick into the center of the square, and he picks out the one Sydney player standing there. I think it was Rampy or something, but he just picked him out, and it was a perfect transitional play for Sydney to just go down and kick a goal of Warple's kick, and I was like, oh my god, that was painful to watch. He just centimeter perfect to the Sydney player standing one out in the center square. Bro, what? And then not moments later, CJ gets to jump up for a completely uncontested mark, through his hands, donks him on the head, and then I'm pretty sure Sydney run away and get a goal there too. It might have been even Goulden at that point. I was just like, oh my god, this is painful to watch. My mates came over not too long after, so I only really watched I think the second quarter all that happened. But it was a painful second quarter, and I just felt terrible watching it. It would have been painful to be a Hawthorn supporter in that game, because it's hard to just it's hard to root for them at that point. You're just sitting there God, we suck. We know we suck, but God, we really suck. Oh, goodness. I also realized I am streaming this again. God damn, I always misclick that. That is okay. What I will do here is I will go grab the recording from Twitch afterwards and stick it on the YouTubes. So I guess not really relevant there, but look, that's what's happening here. So yeah, let's just go through the team. There's plenty of fun things in the weekend. Doherty, 73, bit of a down game. Unfortunate. Dawson came through with a 110, which, pretty nice. We'll take that. Ridley came through the 70, which was a bit disappointing considering how many Essendon players had really good games. And it looks like this is the thing I guess we were scared of, where there's a lot of mouths to feed in the Essendon backline. And Redmond ended up with a lot of points this week. And I think Ridley is honestly most likely my side swap to Dacos. Jimby came out with a 76, which is awesome. McKenna 78. We went from Jones to McKenna. Jones ended up with like 74, so it's pretty similar score-wise, but the difference is he'll have 1 week of his price not moving, if not taking a step backwards, where McKenna's going to be making cash real quickly, and I think McKenna's role is just better to score overall. Constable 67, so a bit better than last week. His ball use was a bit better, and Gold Coast, ended up losing to Essendon, which I thought Gold Coast were a better team than what we've seen so far, but maybe not. Will Milner, Cowan doing good things. Cowan actually plays the full game this time, puts out his 51, which he probably could have got last week if he played the last quarter, but that's all right. He's still going to be making us cash, and Wilmot did much better with... God, who is he out of the team? I forget the running back for them. That is out of the team. Kind of embarrassed that I forgot who that is now. Oh my god, is my mic muted for this? Okay, I'm just going to go take a quick look at the recording and make sure you guys can actually hear me, because I've just wasted the last 20 minutes. Okay, be back in a sec. And we're back, guys. I am so sorry about that. Good news is it was recording, so we will be able to just go grab that after this. Thank goodness. That was going to be very, very frustrating. Now, something I do want to say about the Brisbane game that I found really funny is that last week they didn't have Zorko, and they kind of got pummeled. This week, Zorko plays basically the whole game and comes off towards the end, just for, I guess, a bit of a rest. I don't think he was injured or anything like that. And all of a sudden, Melbourne make this mount back and start coming back to steal the game from Brisbane. I don't know about you guys, but it looks like Brisbane can't play without Zorko. Don't get me wrong, he was playing incredibly well, so very instrumental in that team. But it's just funny that he wasn't there last week, they got belted, and then when he was gone for the last 10 minutes of this game, or however long it was, they started losing, like, really badly. So I found that really funny. So worrying signs there for Brisbane, but I'm sure they'll fix that up. Bontempelli came at a good 125. As I saw, didn't see this game, but for what I hear, it sounds like, they lost to St Kilda, which was kind of, once again, weird. I thought I had Dogs touted higher than that. And it does look like in the losing situation, a lot of the Dogs players are getting thrown all over the joint, and getting really random scores here. It does look like Bontempelli is unaffected by that, so that's the positives. Tom Green comes out with the 106. Look, I guess without Jelly and Whitfield, they probably weren't as strong as a team. But I did think that Green would really step up and carry a bit more of the workload. I didn't think West Coast had anyone that could stop him, and they ended up losing to West Coast, which was strange. And Green just didn't have the greatest game. Well, look, 106, there's nothing wrong with that, especially in a losing team. But I just really expected him to be going massive this week. I think that's what really caught me off guard. Then we have the Setter Goat coming out with the 147. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad that I made that change at the last second when Phillips wasn't named to bring in Setterfield. Obviously went Sicily down the Ridley and then Phillips up to Setterfield, and it's worked dividends because out of the 5 mid prices I started, he was the one who was on the chopping block the most. So he would have been, last in is probably first out in this case. So I'm really lucky that I did get him in. And I'm really happy there. Ash comes out with a 74. I'm actually a little disappointed because I thought with Whitfield gone, he would really take that role and he would go for a good 130 or so. But once again, GWS ended up losing a game that we really didn't think they would. 94, not a bad score in reality. And that's obviously going to be in his cycle a bit longer than that 50 that he got. I'm just wondering if he is worth it in the long run. I'm going to keep him in the team this week. Look, he had a good score. If he can back that up with another good score, then awesome. We really just need him to make like an 85 to reach his price. So if he can hopefully have 2 good games, it can work out. If he really doesn't have the role like he didn't in that week 1, no, he didn't really have the role in week 1. He just didn't have the efficiency, and he had a lot of clangers. I'd like to see more of Ash before I get rid of him, because we've definitely seen Ash has a ceiling to go really big when he gets the opportunity. So I'd like to see him going again. Hopper with a huge bounce back game, the 119, which was awesome to see. Super happy there. Look, I don't think anyone in their right mind wasn't really thinking about trading Hopper just because of the role. I'm sure everyone had a lot more problems in their team, like needing to get Sheasel in and stuff like that, than moving on Hopper, especially with someone who had the role. It's just, I don't know, you should be backing in the players that have the role, unless like you look at them, you're like, honestly, that's not good footballers. And as we mentioned at the start of the year, Hopper missed a lot of footy. He only played 7 games last year. So he needs a little bit of time to get back into that. I am so sorry if you guys can hear that. My neighbor is, I'm not sure what they're doing. Sounds like I forget what they called, but a leaf blower or something like that. Yeah, maybe he's doing that. Warple 99, awesome in a game where they got pumped again. He's still able to put out these scores. We will take those, irregardless of how bad he looks and how bad his decision making is. He gets a lot of the pill. It's a similar thing to Toronto. Sorry, guys. Considering just editing this out, but maybe we can just give it a second. I'll listen to it in the recording and see if I need to remove that. But Warple, yeah, same thing as Toronto. They get a lot of possession, so their floor is quite high, but it does limit their ceiling because they are just very inefficient with the ball. Wanganui Millera, much better game this week, 76. They got up on the win. It looks like his efficiency was a lot better and he had a few more kicks. I really think the biggest thing here is he just needed to demand more of the footy. If he demanded the ball like Dacos did or something like that, or even Sheasel does, like, he would be going for these 100s. And honestly, he's on the chopping block this week because I need funds, and he's not going to make enough money with these kind of scores. He needs to be going for that 85. 80 minimum, and it's just not really getting there. Mackenzie, obviously, his CBA time went down really far, and he didn't really have as good as a week, was stuck forward in a losing team. So, Ashcroft came out with a blinder of a game where he looked so good to watch, and I sat there thinking, shit, I don't have a way to loop him onto the field, and I just had to accept the 105 on the bench. First rule is he is getting straight onto the field because we need him. Baker, yeah, did whatever, and Chester is just not good. He is a dead pick, and we will need to move on him. Sean Darcy, super disappointing to see this. He was on, like, literally 6 at halftime or something. Like, he just, I don't know what happened this game. I don't know if he took a knock. I don't know what, but he didn't score. As I said, I didn't see it. I just check my phone every now and again to see the footy scores, and he wasn't scoring, and that was really surprising for me and really painful. I know a lot of people are moving him on this week, especially for DC. He does have BJ Williams this week in a big game, and I do want to keep the faith. Plus, I think, just have other things I need to address. I mean, Darcy's probably a bigger address than Wanganui Millera in this case, but I want to back him in as a premium. If he comes out with another bad week, he will just have to be an unfortunate flip next week. That's just how it is. And then Marshall was obviously amazing. Once again, didn't really see it, but obviously did amazing things. English also did amazing things. Look, we're not surprised with the things that like English and Caniglio are doing. I mentioned it at the start of the season. We're not picking English. He's going to have that high ceiling, but he's going to be injured a bunch. Right now, I'll be honest, I would definitely take an English over this, even if he was to get injured in one of their games after dropping, a 40 or something. Darcy's already done that in a full game, and he hasn't put out the numbers English has, so I almost would have liked English there and just sidewoods him once he was injured, if you had the foresight to see that. So, unfortunate there, but as I said, we were never picking an injury-prone player like we did with, Hull last year, where we just wanted to pick someone with a huge ceiling that was injury-prone, got injured very quickly after some average games, and it was just super painful. So I didn't want to do that again. Unfortunately, Darcy is that's not good. Marshall did really well this week. Good bounce-back week. So really good to see that. I'm thinking I'll honestly just play it like this, just because I don't want to see Darcy on the field right now. Dunkley, did Dunkley things. Came out with a good game. They get a win. They look good. Dunkley's going into his old team this week. I'm really wanting to put the VC on him because I want to see him go big against the Dogs. Two things either happen here. Dogs put attention into him for him leaving, or he just goes massive against them because he's got something to prove. Rosie, 92, not bad. He took a knee to the head and ended up off the ground for a decent amount of time. I'm pretty sure 20 minutes they have to wait for a concussion. So basically missed a quarter of footy and still put out a 92. So can't be unhappy with that in a game where they got thumped as well. He was definitely one of the more better performing players for them. I'm pretty sure he had a chance to snag a goal, but unfortunately missed it. I think he might have still kicked one, but I think he had a chance to snag a second. But I think he went for a pass or something. I remember him having an opportunity that he didn't take, which I was really sad about. Because if there's anything I wanted Collingwood pumping them and Rosie doing well. Toronto, 75. Yeah, as I said, this is sort of what we expect. High amount of disposals, low efficiency. He's going to just be between this 90 to 110 mark. Maybe he has a high as 120 all season, unless he can fix up that efficiency. Goulden, another good week from him. He's a steal of a pick. Beautiful. Bruin, so frustrating, Bruin. We saw him get named on the wing, and then he got moved to the bench, I feel, before the game started, when they actually named... I feel like he got moved to the bench, but I don't know. I wanted to give him another week. I could have obviously moved him instead of Flanders, which doesn't really matter too much, I think, from a points difference this week, because I think either way I would have had to move on them to get Zeeble in. What did Flanders get? Flanders put out a 46. So points, there was literally no difference in the points, so it's really not too big of a deal what happened there. Shiesel obviously came in because he is the 100% most must-have player in the game. If you do not have him, you must move mountains to get him in. And look, to be fair, he's a rookie. You don't need to move mountains. You just need to make one downgrade of a mid-pricer. You just need to make one upgrade of a base rookie, and you get him in pretty easy. Might have to do 2 trades if you're doing a base rookie up, but yeah, he's a must-have. You have to have him. He's looking too good. Just plays a seagull in the back with Zeeble, and Zeeble's looking fantastic too. Huge, I guess, shout out to, Supercoach Insider Chris. He was big on Zeeble, and he's shown it with a massive week this week. I think he was 62 and got to rank 500. Personally, I actually put Zeeble in my team after I heard him ranting about Zeeble in one of their pods before the game. But then he just had that really bad preseason game that I actually made sure to watch because I wanted to see my eye on Zeeble, and I decided to get rid of him. He stayed hot on him. He got all the Supercoach Insider boys on him, and he has been working dividends for them. So really well played by him. Big congrats. Fergus Green, yeah, we take that. He went 0-4 in front of the sticks and put out a pretty decent score. Davies had the 45 in the first half, and then I don't think did anything in the second half of the game. But yeah, we'll jump into what my plans are for this week. As I said, my VC is going to be on the Dunks, and then my C is going to be on... It's actually going to be on Dacos once I bring him in, because we need Dacos in this team. We definitely need him. Bruin, he's gone. We don't need him. And then this is my, question here. I could go... These are the 3 that are definitely going out, because Chester's a dead rookie. He has to go. Bruin is dead. Has to go. And then Wainwright-Milera, I just don't think he's worth it, so he moves. And with him moving, it does mean that we can get McKenzie on field, which is nice for that. Look, what I'm looking at here is, where is our boy Dake? We're not going to see him because we still have Constable here, so we move Constable down. Bring Dacos in. So Dacos, number 1 must-have. What this does, unfortunately, if I don't move on Ridley, so I can side with Ridley the Dacos, but I can't get Zeeble this way. So if I don't get Zeeble, I end up going for Chandler. Okay, Chandler. Cool. And then I can go for another rookie like Noah Long or something. Leaves me an extra 140k in the bank for moving Darcy next week if I need to. So that's the consideration there. The other thing that I'm considering, if I don't move Wainwright-Milera, okay, I need to reset apparently. So if I don't move him and I move Ridley instead, that's where I can get Zeeble in also. So we're going to move Davey up, and then Zeeble comes in here. We still end up with the 100k, which isn't bad. The difference here is we're sidewarding a premium. So sidewarding Ridley to Dacos, where the other way I end up with 4 premiums in defense. The other thing here is we end up with, once again, McKenzie or Ashcroft on the bench, which I would much rather have both of them on the field, which does feel good. It sucks to miss Zeeble, but I think it's better. saying that Hopper may be missing this week. So if Hopper is missing this week, I think this may actually be the right team. We can get Mackenzie on for him instead, and we can kind of loophole with Baker, which is really cool. We can run Zeeble on the field, which is much better because the other way we set up with the structures, we do have to run Chandler on field. So it's much better, I guess, floor for the rookies in this sense. So let's just complete this. Show you guys what it looks like. Zeeble comes onto the field for Chandler. Awesome. We put the emergency on Chandler because he's just better. And then, as I said, if Hopper doesn't get up, Mackenzie can be used as a little... he can be used as a loophole with Baker. And we can just put Mackenzie on if need be. Which is really nice. If Hopper does get up, though, then we're running Mackenzie on the bench, which doesn't feel good, especially with them going into North. We end up with the same amount of premiums, which is the 11. So we have the 4 down here, 2, 2, and then 3. Where if we keep Ridley, we actually push to 12 premiums. So we do advance the team, and it is into the St. Kilda forward line, which has been giving up a ton of points to intercept defenders, which is Ridley's bread and butter. Sorry about that. So I guess that's the consideration there. So let's just go for the undo trades, and I'll show you what the other one looks like. As I said, it's really sad because we miss Zeeble, but we do advance the team. So we go Miller out, we go Bruin out, and we go for Chesser out. We move Constable down, we bring in Dacos, we bring in Chandler, and then we just need to clear the filter for the last one that we're going to bring in here. I guess the easiest way to probably look at this is if you want to bring in a good rookie, just go to the break-evens. What are we looking at? Noah Long is the number 1 break-evens player here, so I think you just bring him in. Which kind of sucks going to West Coast rookie, because like they're just, I think, a bit unreliable. But he is definitely in position to make the most money here. Then we have the 140 in the bank for if anything goes wrong. To change it up, as I said, we have to run Chandler on field, which isn't really the worst case scenario. They are into Sydney this week, so he could have maybe a bit more of a down game. And what it does mean is that we end up with Ashcroft and Mackenzie on field, which feels pretty nice. As I mentioned, we'd still look at potentially the loophole with Constable instead if Hopper doesn't end up getting up here. And this kind of just looks better in my opinion overall. Looking at this myself, we get the 4 premiums in the back line, and we end up with the 12 premiums overall, so we've advanced the team. Mackenzie and Ashcroft on the field feels like a much better use of these rookies overall. We still have the absolute must-have mid-prices in Hopper, Setterfield, Warple, and then we sort of have Ash on top of it, but we also miss on a Zeeble, which kind of feels bad there, especially into a Hawthorn team that you think Zeeble would go big in. But it's either give up Dacos this week if I want to keep Ridley, or I give up Zeeble. And it's so hard to choose. I think giving up Ridley is the better play overall. But I do like the look of this. This does look this looks really nice for advancing the team. But Zeeble could definitely be a top 6 forward. And we're getting him at a steal of a price. I think Dacos has definitely put his name up. He's definitely top 6 defender, so we need him. Ridley, I don't think he is. He could honestly be... I mentioned it when I even picked him. He could be someone that's like 10 to 15, which isn't really what we want. And that's why I don't mind moving him on. We also keep Constable in the defense line if that's the case, which isn't bad having Constable on field because he can definitely score. And then, as I said, if Hopper doesn't play, we can technically loop Mackenzie on anyway, which would always be better for me if that's the case, because everyone owns Hopper. So if Hopper was to miss a game, everyone gets hurt and has to field one of these other rookies, where I end up with this situation where I already have these mid-prices that are playing. Is Wangnui Miller going to have a good game against Essendon, though? Look, he has a 40 break-even. He's definitely going to make money. It's just not going to be much. He's going to make like 50k. Technically, Zeeble is going to make 200k, though, and... doing this, I do miss him, which is really, really painful. So I do like the other one, I think, better overall. So I think we'll look at what I'm going to go for. These are the 2 that, as I said, I'm looking at. But what I will actually go for is I will keep you in. How am I going to do this? I think I just have to reverse them all. Let's just reverse them all because I can't do it anyway. It's just easier. Reverse them all back. Ridley out. Chesser has to go. And Bruin, get out of my face. Bruin has to go. So then we end up without Dacos. Where's Zeeble? I thought Zeeble would have been up here. They end up without Zeeble. And then with the help of a DPP flip, we end up without Chandler, which is very nice. And we sort of end up with all the pieces that we need for one, making money, but just like having a good team structure. Yes, it doesn't advance the team, but I think we have the rookie coverage on field that just looks better overall. We will do this for us. This looks really nice. Yeah, this just looks much better in my opinion. I think this is what I'll be going with. Captaincy's options this week. Look, I think Dacos, he's looked so good. If you're running a Luke Davis Uniac, though, I think you'd VC Dacos into him because he's probably going to have a massive game against Hawthorn. I don't think anyone can go to him. Even if you put McGuinness on him, I see him just running over McGuinness. Laird in the showdown could be a massive C as well. I think you could Dacos into Laird. I think that's a really, really nice one. Yeah, it's just one of those things where I like Dacos because of his ceiling. And as I said, I want to put a C on Dacos at the end of the day. I'm going to, as I said, go VC on the Dunkley. And look, it really sucks that we have all the dogs and Dunkley in the first game here. Because as I said, I wanted to be looking at like Bont and Dunk as a lot of my C VC options. So them playing on the Thursday night's kind of painful there. Doherty's kind of lost a bit of my trust, even though I think the GWS he could do well. The problem is if I'm VCing any of these, I have to go straight C into a Doherty, which I don't like. I don't like the straight C into Dawson, even though it's the showdown game. Tom Green lost a bit of my faith, but they're also coming into a hard midfield in the Carlton, so I'm not going to do that. It just leaves me in the position where it's like the only ones I really want to look at are Bont, Dunk, and Dacos, and unfortunately they all play. Since these two play the early games, I just have to accept it. I would have loved to them been after the Collingwood game, get the VC on Dacos and then the C on Dunkley. But look, this is just how it's going to have to run, unfortunately. Dunkley is going to take my VC, and I'm going to put the C on Dacos. Tigers never like putting a tag on, and even if they did, as we saw, Dacos just sort of runs over that. Yes, he probably get attention because he has to get attention. Like, he's just too good. And it could probably want to be one of his more down games, and I could be running him as the C, which could be super painful. But I just don't see any other options. Like maybe I go for a Zeeble C. Like I'm never gonna do that, but with the way he's been performing, it's definitely a possibility for him to go big again. That is, I'm not gonna put the C on him. But yes, that's the video, guys. That's what I'm thinking. Tell me what you're looking at. Team-wise, as I said, I'm very happy with it in the sense that the weak roles feel like they're being filled in. I feel like the team is in a good position now. I guess a few things to fix up, but I think Wagner and Miller has shown that he does have the role. If maybe he just demands a bit more of the footy, he could really take a step up in this next coming weeks, which would be really nice. Ridley's probably touted for a big game this week. He's probably even has the potential to outscore Dacos, but I don't see Ridley being a keeper at the end of the day, and even if I flip him at his buys, I just think the team looks a lot better this way, and I can't afford to miss Zeeble at this price. So that's why I've done what I've done. As I said, comment below, follow me if you want to see the journey as we go ahead. I know it's not looking good so far, but I do believe in what we've built here is going to get us toward, it's going to carry us forward throughout the rest of the season, and I think in the next 5-6 weeks you'll see that it will shape up to a much better overall rank because of it. So yeah, anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. Peace, later, catch you all next week.